But I've now been in Seattle for 23 years, reporting, 23 years. I have seen this city grow by about 25% in that time, and I have learned that I can sit inside of one of Ethan Stoll's restaurants, order a Starbucks on my phone that I had shipped from Amazon while I book an Alaska Airlines flight on my Microsoft operating system. This city has changed. I've also spent a lot of my career here in Seattle chasing this story about the Sonics, and I hear a groan. Every twist and turn in this story, I think there's some people in this room who would allow me if you just opened up your wallet to end this story. Let's hopefully get that over soon. I'll talk to you afterwards about the starting price. I do love that nexus between sports and politics and business. There's a lot of people in this room that I've crossed paths with in the past. And sports is the great unifier, I think, for a lot of people. Every politician, of course, now knows you do not want to lose a team on your watch. And a lot of business leaders also know the value of a franchise. But there is more to life than just sports and in this city. So I'm going to tell you a few ways and what I've been monitoring in my day-to-day role. Downtown recovery. I like to speak the truth. It's the best that I've seen in this city since March of 2020. We can thank Taylor Swift, the lavender haze that she brought to the city, and that swift recovery. I mean, July was great. July we had the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. We, of course, had Beyonce last night. I don't know, but I was there. It was a late night, early morning. A lot of cruise ships. I mean, there has been a lot of activity in Seattle. There's also a lot of activity in the political world. I've seen the chamber is been polling on that. Always happy to send me a poll on what's going on in the city. Also happy to weigh in on policy. There's a lot of policies that I think we're all talking about in the city of Seattle right now. Small businesses, lifeblood of our city, the food trucks, the small businesses that have the small clothing shop downtown. The chamber has been involved in amplifying those voices. And then regionally, I've seen the chamber reps outside the city of Seattle talking about transportation, talking about affordable housing. And listen, I've been in this town long enough to know the pendulum always swings back and forth. Amazon was a tiny company. I remember when it was a tiny company. Before it moved into that hospital up on Beacon Hill and then came downtown, created a bunch of jobs, the city grew. It was heralded, then it was villainized, and now it's being heralded again for bringing people back to the office. And I can tell you, I'm in the office 5 days a week. So take that, Andy Jassy, 5 days a week. But in all seriousness, the business community creates jobs, provides the ecosystem for all the people who want to write off Seattle outside the city limits. Again, I like to deal with truth. Cities across the country would like to have the infrastructure that Seattle has. And since I like to deal with facts, I would also tell you that Gallup recently reported that visitors to this city view it as one of the safest in the country. So the theme of today's event is vision and opportunity and how you as a business community will have a strong hand in that vision. So some of the questions. What are the next big things that are needed as a community coming out of the pandemic? What public-private partnerships are also needed to solve big challenges like bringing back the Sonics? And how can the chamber continue to be an effective voice for employers? Now, again, I go back to the fact that I am just a guy who's here to facilitate what is going to be a great program involving some of our community's most important business leaders. And we start now. Please join me in welcoming the chamber's immediate past chair, Pallavi Metawahi.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Chris. My name is Pallavi Wahi, and I am so proud to be standing here, so proud to be looking out at all of you. I'm the managing partner and the Seattle office and co-US managing partner of the global firm K&L Gates. We are very proud to be a long-term chamber member and a long-term partner of the efforts of the chamber. Today, I stand here as your outgoing chair, and it is such a privilege to have had this honor over the last year, and such a privilege to be in this place to hand the reins over to Ada. When I agreed to serve as the chair of the chamber, I had 3 priorities. I thought it was important to engage more business leaders. It was really important to see us as a solution, to see the chamber be a place where business leaders wanted to engage, and to be strong, maybe even fearless in using our voice as a business community. We think we did this. You will tell us if we did or not. We think we really did engage business leaders this last year. We thought it was really important to go out and hear you, really listen to you, so we could represent you, because the chamber is a member organization. To that end, we hosted dinners. We had 75 different business leaders, many of those who were not on the chamber board, many of those who were not even chamber members yet. We had an open dialogue with them. We spoke with them in these no-agenda forums. We heard from them from different communities of the chamber, from downtown interest to healthcare, technology, life sciences, the financial sector, manufacturing, higher education. No agenda, just listening, engaging, and hearing. Businesses all over the cities responded, from Wild Ginger to Vulcan, Fred Hutch, Bristol Myers, the Providence Health System, Microsoft, Google, the list goes on and on. And through this process, we had the opportunity, please make sure, the opportunity to welcome new leaders to the region and introduce them to their peers. We brought new faces into the chamber orbit and had more opportunities for the chamber to engage with them as well, because it really was about those connections. And what we heard from many was a hunger to be a participant and a hunger to be part of the vision of the future. We found out a lot about your vision on public safety, on downtown revitalization, on relationships, and we found a hunger to know what is the chamber working on and how can they be a part of that vision. A second accomplishment we really wanted to highlight was membership growth beyond our expectations. We received twice as many nominations to join our board of trustees as we averaged over the last 5 years. I'm going to pause for a second because that's pretty incredible, because that is unbelievable. We added 274 new members to the chamber, up from 54 the year before. We saw ourselves become more and more of a solutions-oriented organization, and our membership saw the same. And finally, so proud of the chamber members we were able to highlight at this event and many others. From T-Mobile's Mike Severett, Nordstrom's Eric Nordstrom, business leaders like Kamala Saxton of Marination, Monica Matthews of Care, public officials like Seattle Mayor Harrell, Redmond Mayor Bernie, and so many, the list keeps going on and on. But the theme of all of these was opportunities to engage more and more and to re-engage, to really find ourselves becoming an authentic voice as a member organization. Not saying what we thought you wanted to hear, but speaking what you wanted us to speak. In doing all this as your chair this whole year, what I learned was that our businesses care. Each one of us cares deeply about each other. We care deeply about our people, and we care about our impact in this region. We want to be part of the solution. We want to work together. We want to work with the powers to be. We want to be the businesses of this city because we are this city. Our success has come from embracing the lessons of the last few years and working together to create a better region. I am so proud to be the chair of the chamber, but so proud to be in a business community where our values reflect who we are, and who we are as businesses make us the city that we are. So thank you for that privilege. It's been my honor to serve as a chair, but this is not possible, and you're going to hear many things about her today. But Rachel, who's our steadfast leader, she never backed down from a challenge. If you use the word fearless, you have to come up with a different adjective for another level for Rachel. She always comes to the table ready with ideas and solutions. She's engaged, she's effective, and she is incredible. The strength of our chamber lies in her leadership, so thank you to Rachel. Another incredible. And I am also delighted today to do one of my other official jobs, which is to welcome another incredible leader who will be taking the reins on. Ada Healey, who is going to be joining me on stage shortly, the Chief Real Estate Officer at Vulcan. She will be our chair of the chamber next year. She's transformational in her leadership of South Lake Union and for leading Vulcan to become the powerhouse it is. As we look ahead, we couldn't have a safer pair of hands, a more experienced pair of hands than Ada. So today, as I leave this stage, I want to leave you with a simple message. Change is us. A growth mindset focused on solutions and a why not as opposed to a why is what will serve us well. The success of our community is in our hands. The chamber is a convener. Let's encourage everyone in this room to think of ways to bring us together, to be part of the opportunity and the vision of the future that is this region. So let's all be fearless advocates, relentless problem solvers, and the champions of collaboration. Thank you, everyone, and please welcome Ada Healey.
Here we go. Thank you.
Exchange my...
Here's the flowers.
Thank you.
And
The
now we
gavel
do
is
a
yours.
hug.
Thank you, Ada.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. And it is great to see you all IRL. And you know what that stands for? I learned from my 15-year-old in real life. All the things you learn from teenagers. Fantastic. My name is Ada Healey, and I serve as Chief Real Estate Officer at Vulcan. I am thrilled to also now serve as the chair of the Chamber's Board of Trustees. I want to thank Pallavi for her stewardship, her energy, her humor, and of course her unwavering commitment to the Chamber. The Chamber had a banner year, and we have Pallavi's leadership to thank for that. Let's give her another round of applause. I know I've got tall shoes to fill, and I'm excited to build on the momentum that she has created as I step into this role. You know, when I was thinking about the meeting's theme today, vision and opportunity, I was inspired by what we can possibly advocate for this year, including creating a welcoming business environment, building more types of housing in neighborhoods all over the region, lighting I-5 maybe, or building a new airport. We're going to work on all these ideas. But for my time as chair, my highest priorities are going to be public safety and addressing the drug crisis, bringing our regional economic engine, downtown Seattle, back even better than it was before, and finally getting regional transportation right. The truth is, all of these ideas I mentioned intersect with public safety and the revival of downtown Seattle. And you know, it's not just business leaders that understand this. The voters understand it also. According to the Chamber's index poll, 90% of Seattle voters believe that a thriving downtown Seattle is critical to our region's economic recovery. For downtown to recover, we need an all-of-the-above strategy approach to public safety, including more police officers and getting a handle on the drug crisis with both treatment and accountability. This week, Seattle took the first step to join cities across the state in passing legislation to do just that. And as a result, we expect to see more people in treatment, fewer people on the streets, and a slowing in the pace of overdoses. These are our measures of success. We also need continued investment from local, regional, state, and federal agencies. Public safety is going to be a major topic of the local elections this year. While the Chamber no longer endorses candidates or contributes to PAC spending, we are not retreating from politics. We will focus on the issues, ask the candidates to be clear about their positions, and create an environment where the candidates that share our priorities can be successful. I'd like to encourage everyone here to get involved, talk to the candidates, support those you think have the right ideas with both volunteer hours and contributions, and please vote in November. You know, beyond public safety, we need our government to make decisions that help the regional economy. City governments are going into budget season now, and that means squaring up spending and revenues. In Seattle, despite record revenue collection, there's been talk of new taxes. Before raising taxes, we need to look at existing spending and see more progress. Seattle voters are some of the most generous in the county, but trust in the decisions around local spending is low. According to the Chamber's index poll, 57% of Seattleites think taxes are too high for the level of services provided, and only 34% trust the City of Seattle to spend their tax dollars responsibly. This really begs a collective need to build trust by delivering results with the resources we have before exploring new revenues. Let's reject new taxes for the sake of new taxes and first figure out the policies that are working to address our challenges and then come together on how to fund those policy solutions so that we actually get results. Alongside those two priorities, we're going to double down on regional transportation. Light rail is coming. Yay. It is coming to, let's applaud light rail, my goodness. Light rail is coming to Linwood, Bellevue, Federal Way, and ultimately Tacoma and Everett. You know, we need strong partnerships to ensure these projects are delivered and the investments work for those communities. We also must plan for the future with a system that is integrated with existing services. Plus, let's add public-private partnerships so we can work on electrification. I know we can do this. We have a lot to be proud of here in the region. You know, we've transformed this Bellevue skyline. We have a brand new waterfront opening here in Seattle, and we have the World Cup to look forward to in 2026. You know, but yes. I just want to find out how I can get tickets to that. I'm sure some of you all are thinking about that as well. Working together, you know, we have a great business community here, and working together, I know we can make progress on our challenges and create prosperity for all in the region. Thank you, and I'm really excited for the next 12 months.
All right, thank you, Ada. And thank you, Pallavi, for sharing your thoughts and reflections on this year and the existing year ahead. Now, without further ado, the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce President and CEO, Rachel Smith.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Rachel Smith, President and CEO of the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. And can I just shout out that this is a chamber kind of day? How about that? And I want to say that I am thrilled to have the opportunity to work with Ada as our new board chair, and just to say a huge thank you to Pallavi for her incredible leadership. I'm so proud of the work that we have done together. There are many folks to thank today. Thank you to our Board of Trustees for your time and your energy and your partnership in leading this organization. Thank you also to the elected officials who have joined us today. Could we get a round of applause for them? Importantly, I want to thank our incredible sponsors who have made today's event possible, including Kaiser Permanente, our presenting sponsor. Yes, thank you. And also a huge thank you to the 75-year club. We have so many companies, look at all of these, that have been chamber members for 75 years or more. And like I said, again, thanks all of you for being here. It is my absolute honor to welcome you to our 141st annual meeting. We are also thrilled to be back here at the Westin, and a big thank you to the Westin leadership and to the staff serving us here. Let's hear it for them. Okay, before we get into our program, I wanted to rewind the tape just a little bit. I want to celebrate our accomplishments and make the case for where I think we should go from here. As I look out at everyone, I think a lot about my own experience with this chamber. It actually makes me smile a lot because I've sat in this very room at this very event just like all of you. And in my career, when it came to the chamber, I always made sure I was in the room. I'll never forget the Regional Leadership Conference 10 years ago when Brad Smith gave his Boys in the Boat speech, one of the most inspiring speeches I have ever heard. And when I was deputy county executive, I engaged every way that I could. I was an absolute devotee of the Chamber's Business Issues Forum, and I went every single month. The entire year of 2018, I think I ate breakfast every single Tuesday with Chamber leaders to talk about a new regional approach to homelessness. And during COVID, I think I spoke on every single business community webinar or conference call that was convened. I also traveled a lot with the Chamber with varying degrees of success. In LA, I got lost at Universal Studios. In San Francisco, I spilled orange juice all over myself and my boss on our flight. And in New York, I realized I left my raincoat on the plane as I walked out into the 10th rainiest day New York has ever seen. So when it came to the Chamber, yes, I was in the room, on occasion searching or sticky or soaked, but I was there. I was going to tell you a story today, and when I looked, it actually turns out that it started on this very day, September 15th, 3 years ago. I was in my office, and I got a call from a recruiter. The Chamber needed a new CEO. I assumed they regarded me as an important stakeholder, so I shared my thoughts. And they said, "What about you?" I respectfully repeated myself. And they asked again, "What about you?" I assured them I really was giving them my opinion. And finally they said, "No, Rachel, what about you?" And it finally clicked. And of course, I threw my hat in the ring. It was the middle of the pandemic, the middle of the pandemic-induced recession, the middle of a racial reckoning, and the middle of what I think everyone in this room can agree was a pretty challenging political environment in Seattle. But this was the ultimate opportunity to be in the room, to show up for the best business community in the world, because it is you, your companies, and your employees that generate the prosperity for everyone in this region and get things done. Since that time, we've been heads down, shoulder in, and pushing for change. We've changed the narrative about us. We've changed the political environment that we work in, changed the way we support businesses post-COVID, and changed the way that we do things at the Chamber. And honestly, we've come a long way. I know it's hard to do, but it's important to look up every now and then and celebrate our successes together. And there have been many. The Seattle Convention Center opened the doors of the new Summit building in January. We hosted an unparalleled All-Star Week in July. Starbucks opened nearly 600 new stores globally. Alaska Airlines and Zero Avia began developing the world's largest zero-emission aircraft. Gardner Global and Amazon launched a partnership for affordable housing. Microsoft introduced us to a new frontier in AI. Ben Bridge Jewelers opened a new flagship store downtown. Boeing finished the first quarter of the year with 130 jets delivered, and Costco is celebrating 40 years in Seattle. That list just barely scratches the surface of all of the amazing things this business community has accomplished despite all the challenges. So kudos to all of you. For our part, here at the Chamber, we've been working hard to be a strong voice for business. People are paying attention to what we say, and what we say is changing the narrative. Importantly, our members are paying attention, but also elected officials and candidates for office are paying attention. The media is paying attention, and the narrative is changing. Headlines about defunding the police have been replaced by headlines about what the right number of officers is, what alternatives we need, and what reforms we know are necessary. emphasis on the economic importance of downtown Seattle and what really drives prosperity in our region is growing. The voters already know it, and leaders are catching up. The idea of new taxes being the only way to solve what ails us is fading. And maybe most consequently for this room, the idea that the business community is to blame for our regional challenges is not the prevailing opinion. That change in narrative didn't happen because of a marketing campaign or a new logo or a popular spokesperson. It changed because we are doing the work, leading with the data and the facts. And our pace is fast. We have meetings with local, regional, state, and federal officials nearly every single day. And that doesn't include the marathon of calls and texts and meetings with staff and events and press conferences. We are gathering the intel, hashing out a strategy when we are aligned, and pushing back and negotiating a compromise when we are not. As one of our consultants is fond of saying, we are fully plugged into the matrix and taking action on behalf of this business community. For example, we worked with Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell to launch an ambitious set of proposals to activate downtown in July. In King County, we worked to make the case to voters to support a crisis care levy. It passed. In Olympia, we advocated for the missing middle housing bill, which has now become law. And we are working in coalition, successfully, to bring hundreds of millions of dollars for high-speed rail from the other Washington to this one. We're also investing in growth opportunities for emerging and small businesses. Across King County, we are providing on-the-ground small business support. We do this primarily through our Community Business Connector program, a program designed to address the challenges business owners face due to linguistic and cultural and geographic barriers. By building relationships with those businesses, the program will help our entire ecosystem be more inclusive and accessible. I'm especially proud of our economic development team at the Chamber, led by Vaughn Taylor. Vaughn's work earned us the award for diversity, equity, and inclusion from the Washington State Economic Development Association. And on top of that achievement, 92% of our contracts from just this team will have gone to BIPOC and women-led organizations. So this was also the first year that we intended to be back in person with most of our events. We hosted successful international trips to Japan, Norway, and Iceland, and domestically to San Jose and San Francisco, and a fly-in to DC. We also used our programming to provide businesses with tools and resources that they need to adapt to new rules and regulations, and that included long-term care, return to office policies, and pay transparency. And you all showed up. Across our events, we had over 5,000 registrants, featured 154 members on stage, and had 78 public officials at our various events. We still face a lot of challenges in our region. But if you look around, I think you would agree that things are getting better, and we've been a part of that. If this was a game of Monopoly, I'd say we'd have passed go and collected $200. But as we look ahead, the rest of the board is still uncertain, and we've got to play to win without leaving anyone behind. This year, it's time to focus on what we want and need as a business community. While we haven't exactly been on defense over the last 5 years, we haven't really been on offense. That changes now. And what does offense look like? Offense is, as Ada said, creating the environment where aligned candidates for office can be successful. It is the persistent work to make progress on the quality of life issues that we face, like homelessness, public safety, and affordability. It's working with government partners to make it easier, not harder, to open a business, build a building, attract and retain employees, and keep customers safe. Offense is also being the first to offer partnership, to foster a good idea, to help when the right thing is the hard thing, and to celebrate leadership and progress. We see the vision and we are ready to seize the opportunity. This year, we lost 3 business leaders who always saw the vision and always seized the opportunities. They were living proof of this incredible potential of our region. Rachel Marshall of Rachel's Ginger Beer, John Runstad of Wright Runstad, and former Chamber CEO George Duff. Let's embrace them as our light and inspiration. I'll wrap up with an ask to all of you. We need you. We need your ideas to be burdened by your frustrations and infected by your enthusiasm. We need you because we can only do this as a community. My communications people always tell me we need a call to action, so here it is. Come to our programming, events, and trips and bring your employees and your emerging leaders. Reply to our emails and let us know your thoughts. Tell us the challenges facing your business or industry so we can work to solve them together. Without you, the flywheel doesn't fly. The dots don't connect themselves. We are the connective tissue. When I was sitting at a table, just like you are doing now, I didn't fully appreciate how much the chamber needed me as a member, that our power came from being and working together. So, just like the recruiter said to me, what about you? Turns out that when it comes to the business leadership we need, there's not a lot of distance between your table and this stage. I believe in you. I believe in us. I think that we can make progress. I think that we can go on offense, and I think that we can be successful. So let's do it, and let's do it together. We are proud of the work that we've done, and I want to give a huge round of applause for the Chamber staff and team. They are the reason for our success. Thank you all so much, and enjoy this Chamber kind of day. We're going to be there every single step of the way, engaging folks in the city to help clean it up, make it more beautiful. Long-term care legislation passed in 2019. And because this legislation impacts businesses, it mattered a great deal to us as a chamber.
Thank you, Chair Dolio and committee members. My name is Lars Erickson. I'm here on behalf of the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce and our more than 2,500 members.
Truly, as you just heard, a $10,000 cash grant from Comcast can be the difference for a business that is facing closure.
Seattle's Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce ran a survey called the Index. They do it twice a year. This is what their most recent results show. The voters are very aligned on their top concerns, which are addressing homelessness, public safety, and affordability.
Many leaders want to reverse this trend. They want to find a fix to the issues that downtown faces. People on these panels include people from the Downtown Seattle Association, Seattle Chamber.
Frustration over public safety is evident in a new EMC research poll commissioned by the Downtown Seattle Association and the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce.
Metro Chamber released data from its latest Quality of Life Index. The poll asked people what they are most frustrated or concerned about. Homelessness was number 1, followed by crime, drugs, public safety, then cost of living and housing.
But there's some intentionality around being in the office. And so whether or not they have a requirement to be in the office 3 days a week or 2, if they don't have that, they still are asking employees to come in, but with very intentional purposes.
The Seattle Chamber of Commerce is also hopeful this change will help boost small businesses like Lady Young.
And I'll have you answer a few questions here first.
A statement reads in part, Amazon's decision to bring workers back into the downtown core at least 3 days a week is a welcome demonstration of community leadership.
These things also matter to Rachel Smith, CEO of the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce.
There was a missed opportunity to rebuild some of the trust with the public on public safety.
Also last March, we did a deep dive into homelessness, how the regional approach was, yes, the tough one, but also the right one, and that we are clear-eyed in our approach.
We know from our most recent installment of the Index, which is the Chamber's public opinion research on quality of life issues, that 67% of Seattle voters support more housing in their own neighborhoods, and 80% support policies that make it easier to build new housing near transit and commercial areas in their cities.
We must keep attracting and growing the kind of jobs that create prosperity for individuals and drive the economy across the region. We also need to have the kind of jobs that generate the tax base that government relies on. Businesses generate over 60% of the general fund tax base in the city of Seattle, for example. A point our leaders would do well to center in their policy decisions.
The Seattle Chamber of Commerce, which is hosting today's cleanup along with Together Washington, and the Seattle Mariners, says the city could see 100,000 visitors during the All-Star Games. Rachel Smith with the Chamber says big events like the All-Star Game is a way to bring people together, and that's worth celebrating.
We want to encourage people to be buoyed by the good things that we're seeing and continue to hold leaders accountable and make sure that we make even more progress and that we make it more urgently.
As Rachel mentioned there at near the end of her speech, what about you? The you is, of course, the business community that's in this room, and I want to introduce everyone right now to Melly Miller. She is the CEO and co-founder of Right Size Consulting. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let me tell everybody about Right Size. Founder and CEO, it's a small business. You have applied nearly 3 decades of executive leadership across banking and nonprofits to serve as a financial equity strategist for policymakers, enterprise leaders, communications teams. You're doing it all. The mission of Right Size is to ensure sustainable wealth for the Black community as a benchmark for national prosperity by reshaping money, culture, and infrastructure. Talk about prosperity. What does it mean?
I feel like the conversation is done. He pretty much said it all. Prosperity to me truly means collective abundance. It means that there's enough for everyone. It means there isn't power hoarding, there's sharing. It means that we lead with synergy over competition. Prosperity means that with the abundance of resources that we have, we ensure that everyone in our community gets to enjoy them, gets to build a foundation for their families.
What's it mean to be fully engaged?
That's different for everyone. Oh, little known fact. Thank you, Rachel, for talking offense. I was a power forward in high school. I was very good. Sometimes I played the 3 position. Our team didn't win when one person played well. Our team won when we shared the rock. Our team won when we fed one another. All you ball players out there know what that means. Everybody eats. Who's not eating right now? Who's not getting the rock? That, to me, is such a reflection of partnering together in this community on a professional level. When I think about bringing my whole self to work, that type of authenticity, it's a myth for a lot of us. And some folks feel like they can't. There's been books written about this. But from my humble perspective, I'll bring it all back to core values, bring it back to the things that you believe in that are important to you. That mission clarity, we have it for ourselves, but does your company have it? Are you walking someone else's path to just get a paycheck, just to survive? We've all been there. Well, some of us have been. I've been there. And it feels terrible. What part of you are you leaving at home when you walk out the door to go to work? The worst part of raising 2 little boys, 2 beautiful Black men in this community, is that I didn't feel like at times that I was contributing to an environment that would be better for them than it was for me. Felt like a waste. I don't believe in waste, remember? I believe in collective abundance. So when we talk about being fully engaged, thinking about synergy over competition with our peers, we win when we all win. When Seattle thrives, we all eat. And I watch a lot of organizations that get it And I see a lot of organizations that don't. And I know who's going to be here 5 to 10 years from now.
Quickly.
I will.
Sorry.
Don't talk over me. No, I'm just kidding, Chris.
Quickly. I see a lot of names here on the wall, all the members of the chamber. Why engage with this group of people? Why engage with the chamber?
This is definitely not the chamber of 30 years ago. Remember the breakfasts and the networking? Who loves networking? Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. Nobody loves networking. I appreciate your support. I know you probably thought you were supporting me. You're not. Networking stinks. Nobody loves it. The chamber has nothing to do with networking. It's smart business. Let's talk mission and margin. It's smart business. Those leaders, those policymakers, those CEOs you've been trying to track down for the last 3 months, well, guess what? You'll probably end up sitting next to them at a chamber event. I promise. It's happened to me so many times, it's not even funny. And then when you think about your mission, the chamber is the one place that I have found that provides access and resources and advocates for you because they want to. I love it. It's the best use of capital I could find.
Well, thank you, Melly Miller, for engaging on this beautiful afternoon. And I now get a chance to introduce our next speaker.
Do it. I will leave you to it.
I'd like to welcome to the stage Monica Wells, District Medical Director for Seattle, who will share some words from our presenting sponsor, Kaiser Permanente.
Hello, my name is Dr. Monica Wells. I'm the District Medical Director over the Seattle region of Kaiser Permanente, Washington, and a practicing internal medicine physician in our beautiful city, Seattle native. Kaiser Permanente, Washington is proud to be the presenting sponsor for today's event. And as we look around the room, we're happy to recognize many faces and friends here today. Welcome. At Kaiser Permanente, we provide high-quality and affordable healthcare services for primary and specialty care for our more than 640,000 members across the state of Washington. Our integrated care and coverage model helps us to build collaborative relationships with our patients and to be a partner to you to keep your workforces healthy. Our clinical expertise covers a wide range of medical and surgical specialties, more than 60 in total, including obstetrics and gynecology, pediatrics, cancer care, neurology, orthopedics, and so much more. We're tremendously proud that our Kaiser Permanente health plans feature care from the top-ranked medical group in the state, according to the 2023 Washington Health Alliance Community Health Checkup. In addition to improving the health of our members, we're also dedicated to the health of the communities in which we serve, and we're honored to work alongside many of you in this room as part of our region's business community. It's been an honor for Kaiser Permanente and our predecessor organization to be a member of the Seattle Metro Chamber since 1976. The organizations in this room, including us, continue to benefit from the collaboration and partnership of this regional business community. And now I am pleased to introduce the keynote conversation, which will continue to develop the theme of vision and opportunity that's woven throughout our program here today. First, I'd like to reintroduce Pallavi Mehta Wahi. Pallavi is co-United States and Seattle managing partner of K&L Gates, the Seattle Metro Chamber's immediate past board chair, and a passionate advocate for the Seattle business community and the people and companies who help it to thrive. Today, she will be engaging in a fireside chat with our keynote, Laxman Narasimhan, CEO of Starbucks. Mr. Narasimhan brings nearly 30 years of experience leading and advising global consumer-facing brands, and now, collectively with Starbucks partners, leading the company into its next chapter of growth and impact. I welcome you both to the stage and look forward to hearing your insightful conversation.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Laxman, for being on the stage with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for pronouncing my name right.
I'm really grateful someone will pronounce mine right as well. So congratulations. Congratulations on being recently appointed the Chief Executive Officer of Starbucks Coffee Company. That is such an incredible honor. Since you joined Starbucks in October, it's well documented. We've heard about it from so many places about how immersed you are in the business, how you're immersed with your partners. And I think this audience would love to hear about your experience, some of your learnings through that immersion process, and how it has been for you in your first few months as the CEO.
Well, thank you, Pallavi, for having me, and thank you all for being here. Before I get into the details of this, I finally learned how to make a very good latte. So I sucked at first, and now I'm much better. So hopefully this mic's working, and you guys have it. So, when I came on board, through many conversations with our founder, Howard Schultz, and with the chair of our board, Melody Hobson, we designed an immersion program that was designed with a couple of ideas in mind. It was supposed to communicate to me the heart of a partner, the eyes of a merchant, the craft of a barista, the hands of a farmer, the dreams of an entrepreneur, the grit of an operator, and the obsession and urgency of an owner.
Wow.
It felt like a fairly big, sort of task to get me to learn all these things. And I remember somebody asked me this question. They said, why did you need 6 months to be oriented towards what it meant to run Starbucks? And I said, that's a very Western way to think of that question. Because if you were from the East, you'd be asking the question, why did it only take 6 months for you to learn how to essentially lead a company like Starbucks? And so it was a great experience. I spent time working in stores, working with our partners, engaging and running the supply chain, working with many of the functions, and truly immersing myself in the culture of this great and iconic brand, a brand that was founded and grown by Howard Schultz with his remarkable vision for what this company was all about. And through that observation, I had my own take on some of this, and a few takes that I thought were interesting. One was, at the end of the day, we help people connect. It's remarkable to me. I was working in a drive-through in the southern part of Chicago, and I remember the window opening and me handing a drink to a woman who was in her car, and she, took the window down, and I saw her. She was half made up. The makeup box was right in front. And she looked at me with this kind of look. And it was a Monday morning, and I handed the drink over to her, and I saw relief. And I realized what was really going on here was she was looking for something that she could use to connect with herself. At the same time, I worked in one of our hospital stores, and it's a crucible of human emotion. You see people, who come in the morning, men particularly, very happy because the baby's been born overnight. You see anxiety through the whole day because people are waiting for test results. You also see loss, and people coming in with friends, and it's a cauldron of human emotion. And a lot of Starbucks partners actually see that. So human connection is a big deal, and we have the ability to deliver that connection across 36,000 stores around the world, and it's honestly a real privilege. The second thing I learned as I was working in the stores was we've got to really continuously evolve in the way we meet the needs of our customers. We have a theater in the front. You see the barista crafting your specific beverage and handing it over to you. It's theater at the end of it. What they do, how they craft, and how they hand it, the interaction that happens. But at the same time, while we have a theater in the front, we have a factory in the back. And how we ensure that we're doing things in the way we make things, the way we supply things, the way we simplify the life of our partners, in order to ensure the factory in the back actually works really well. The third thing I learned is, of course, that businesses are operating clearly in a different kind of world. We've always striven to be a different kind of company, but we are operating in a different kind of world, and we have a clear obligation, responsibility in the communities we serve, with the partners who work with us, in the farmers that rely on us, and the earth that nourishes us. And so we've got to find a way to ensure we create mutual success for all. And the final thing I learned was sometimes a reinvention is necessary. Here you have an iconic brand, a big, huge brand, amazing things it has done. Society's clearly evolving. We've got to evolve as well. And the team had done a wonderful job in thinking about a reinvention plan, and I inherited a lot of it. And then, of course, we've expanded on it in terms of what we're going to do going forward. So a lot of great learnings, but it comes from really spending time in stores. And I spend time in stores in Seattle. You know, I spend time in stores actually around the country every month and around the world even. And it's given me a great, lens into how the world is changing, also how our business is changing, how our customer and partners are evolving, and what we've got to do differently.
That's fantastic. What a great answer. And what passion comes through on it. And it just leads me to ask, you've taken the helm of this brand right after a global pandemic. You are at a dynamic time on the extensive global footprint that you have. Tell us a little bit about your journey and, this excitement you have in leading this brand. It's obvious it's coming through the passion and the excitement. Tell us a little bit more about that.
First of all, I'm the only surviving child of 3 kids growing up in India. And actually, when you have these moments when you end up being that, you actually osmotically understand what it means to really connect with people and how important it is to actually go through life through this human connection. I came to this country, I'm a first-generation immigrant into this amazing country. And what this country did for me was give me an amazing amount of opportunity. And I came here with $7,700 and 2 suitcases, and given that we're both South Asian, I can share with you that I also came with a pressure cooker.
Me too.
Because you did too, it's kind of like our parents think, my mother at that time, my father had passed away before then, thought that I wouldn't eat well, so she said, you got to take a pressure cooker with me. And you can imagine how cool I looked, and landing on campus with this pressure cooker and these 2 suitcases, thinking I was like the king of the world. And, it was remarkable, actually, and I had no money, and through working a couple of jobs while I was at school, being the beneficiary of, things that very wealthy people did for me, as well as the school did for me, I was able to get through that. I then went on a journey for, 30 years around the world. I lived in Cleveland and Tokyo and Toronto and San Francisco and New Delhi and London, and I ended up here in Seattle. This is our 26th place of residence in 30 years of marriage to the same person.
Wow.
Which is quite remarkable. As you can imagine, it's probably, probably the biggest accomplishment. I should not be where I am, but I am. And I think it's a story of so many things that have somehow come together miraculously to lead me here. So it's a privilege to lead this amazing company. It's a privilege to find a place that my wife has begun saying, this could be home. And I'm like, wow, how wonderful. So it's great to be home.
That's fantastic. So I have to say, I still don't know how to use the pressure cooker, but I have it. But it's fantastic to just hear about this international journey across the US, Canada, Europe, Asia. I also know, my sources tell me you speak 6 languages. So, it's great to hear you say that, Seattle, made
Seattle. I see
Krishna
there, by the way, who speaks German, and he's my way of, practicing German. So it's interesting. Yeah.
So you got the languages covered in this room, but it's interesting because you've been now in Seattle for over 6 months and you said it feels like home. What are some of your early impressions? What makes you think of this city as a great place to live?
What's incredible about Seattle, first of all, is that I didn't really fully imagine or think about it, but it has been a place where so many amazing businesses, have been founded. And just take a look at, these incredible companies that the world respects. This is the crucible, this is the home of artificial intelligence, for the whole world. So this is a city of creation, which is what I love. The second thing about this is a remarkable community. I go back to the character Starbuck in Moby Dick, and you see the seafarers of the world, and you see the port out here, and you just see this community is one that fosters so many people coming in, so many people connecting, and it's just a beautiful, picturesque community. So, and very friendly, down-to-earth people, which has been incredible for me to see. The third thing I've seen about this place is, it's got a lot of great culture. I mean, the conversation just on the symphony or the opera, or frankly, the various music things that I've been doing here. It's a great city of culture. So I look at the fact that it's a creation city. It's a community. It really has that feel. As I walk through the Ballard Farmers Market, you can actually see that really come alive. And it's a city of great culture, but also, importantly, for something what I do, it's the city of coffee. So if you put all that together, you have just a remarkable confluence of things. So it's a beautiful place.
That's a really good point, the city of reinvention, the city of culture. It's really about transformation. In a lot of ways, that is also the company culture at Starbucks. What are you doing to reinvigorate your partners across Starbucks? What is the culture you want to achieve for Starbucks?
I think, there's empathy, a growth mindset, and the ability to have a point of view, to have no eggshells, are the clear mindsets that actually frame who we are as a company. Now, when I came in and took over, it was actually a remarkably successful company, so you have to approach this with a great deal of humility. And what you realize is that if you go back to the mission of the company, which was so beautifully written, but before the iPhone came to be, which used to be to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one cup, one person, one neighborhood at a time. It's poetry, really, when you think about it. But as I went into stores and I looked to see how the world had evolved, and I felt it was important for us to actually give even more agency to our baristas, to actually have them feel that they were part of something even bigger. And so my management team, the leadership, many levels in the company all got together, and we thought about what is it that we really are about? Why do we exist? What is our mission? And we thought we needed to respect the past, but yet contemporize it into the future. And so what we ended up with gives a lot of agency to the people that you meet every single day. Because our mission is, with every cup, with every conversation, with every community, we nurture the limitless possibilities of human connection. We're a human connection company. Human connection is central to who we are. When we talk about a person, we're now dealing with people both digitally as well as in person, hence the conversation. And you think about a neighborhood, in a lot of ways, the neighborhood store is deeply important to us because it connects us with the communities that you're part of. But also, we have people that we connect with communities that transcend geography. And so our mission, in a lot of ways, takes the energy into the hands of the barista, and it really builds up everything they do in order to help us really reinforce human connection. Now, we're also a company that operates, we're a different kind of company. We strive to be that, and we will always strive to be that. But we also operate in a different kind of world. And in the old days, we'd talk about this amazing idea of two chairs in a room, the partner and the customer. And as I sat in the nights and as I talked to my team and I went out in the field and spent time with our retail partners all over the world, it was clear to me that we actually had more chairs in the room than what we thought about. And so we framed our promises, as being one that would define who we are at our best. And it's important to set that bar because we do a lot of it, a lot of the time, but not all of the time. So we need to set an ambition for us. And that is our promises. Our promises for our partners is Bridge to a Better Future. Written, by the way, by the store manager at Pike Place.
Wow.
Our customer promise, what our brand stands for, which is uplift the everyday. Our farmer promise, and I think you can appreciate, we buy coffee from 500 million farmers around the world. We provide information, data, practices to over 2 million of the 20 million coffee farmers around the world. So our farmer promise, which comes out of our farm in Costa Rica, is ensure the future of coffee for all. The community promise, really important to us, is to contribute positively. People gave us feedback saying, how I wish it was more kind of like words like impact and all these big sounding words. We wanted it to be such that we had, partners in a store. If somebody from the Girl Scouts walks in and asks for $10, that it would actually fit with what they did, give them agency so they could contribute positively to our communities. At our best for the environment, we want to give more than we take. And lastly, what that means, our promise to our shareholders, is that we ensure long-term sustainable returns. So our mission and our promises are really what it's about, which then leads me to our values. In history, we talked about our values saying, we deliver performance through the lens of humanity. Again, it's poetry and beautifully written. And in celebration of our heritage, what we want to talk about is our values are craft, and certainly the barista cares about the craft of the coffee that they make for you, but it also applies to a treasurer and the work that they do, or to a lawyer and the work that they do, or to someone in store operations and the work they do, because they have a craft. The second is clearly results, and it came through with everything that we've heard from our people in stores. The third is courage, that we take a stand on things that we believe in. The fourth, entirely Starbucks, is belonging. And the last is joy. And we put joy into our values because you know what, this is a fun business and sometimes it feels heavy, but it should be fun. So that is the kind of company that we're building. It's a celebration of our past and it's an evolution into the future. And we need to do that, given the kind of brand that we are, that we're bringing a new kind of energy into it. 36,000 stores, but we're just getting started.
That's amazing. I'm so excited sitting here. And I have to ask you, and I just hearing about what you're doing right now, hearing about what you're doing with the brand, what will be the focus areas for you and the company for the future? And I will say, as one of your lawyers for Starbucks, don't give us too much information. I want to be careful about this question, but what is the vision for the future for you and for what you see into the future?
We believe that we're just getting started in this notion of how we empower our partners around the world in order to ensure that we can make a big difference in the area of human connection. And so there are 5 things that I have said publicly, so you shouldn't be worried about it, as to what really we will focus on. The first is our brand. And what that means, it clearly means our stores. It means the products and the innovation that we bring, which is really what we're about. And the third is about the experience that we deliver. So brand really drives that. The second is digital. How we connect with our customers, new business models that might emerge digitally, and also how we connect with our partners digitally. So digital is the second area. The third area is global. We have 660 stores in Beijing. We have 1,150 stores in Shanghai.
Wow.
And we have 330 stores in India. Enough said, right? And we do those 3 things of brand, of digital, and of global. We do that ensuring that we reduce waste. And it's important for us because what that helps us do is it generates what we can then invest in the business. And the last is, it's about a partner culture. It's a partner culture around reinvigorating human connection. Those are the 5 things that we will do. And in that context, coffee is so central, and how we ensure our promises are kept, as I've said earlier, around our partner promise, our customer promise, our farmer promise, our community promise, our environment promise, and therefore our shareholder promise. That's what we're about.
That's incredible. That is so energizing, so transformational, and so personal. So, that's pretty incredible.
That took two espressos. Before I came up here, a doppio espresso.
Dope. That's great. I think I did as well. But, we have a couple of minutes left, and what we're going to try and do is the lightning round. It's
right.
we are innovative here at the Chamber with the lightning round. So,
is that linked to rain?
So I guess one of them is connected to rain. Are you an umbrella man or a no umbrella man in Seattle?
Well, okay. I carry an umbrella, but I don't use it.
Most of this audience. So are you the partner opening the Starbucks store, or are you the one closing it at the end of
Definitely
the day?
opening.
Okay, early riser, okay.
Yes.
Do you like the beach or the mountains?
I like the beach. I like to see the mountains.
Ah. Where would that be? No, I have to.
No, actually, at the drive-in, I look around, I'm like, my God, it's beautiful. Yeah, I just, I love seeing the mountains, but I'll be on the beach.
On the beach. Fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction, for sure. I want to escape.
You want to escape. Oysters or a Seattle hot dog?
Come on, Pallavi, I'm vegetarian. So, no question, sous vide eggs
Sous vide
with
eggs.
sriracha. If you ask for it, they could make it. By the way, I double grill it. It's amazing when you do that.
That's the new Starbucks order to have.
Sous vide eggs double grilled. My God, the partners are going to kill me, but you'll like it.
So, I have to ask, my favorite Starbucks order is a non-fat, double shot, 2 Splenda short latte. Every morning, every day for breakfast. What is yours?
You know something? It's clear we both come from India. Because it's also clear that your taste buds were developed by South Indian coffee.
Yes.
No question. Because what I like, I come at it with a different build. I come at it with doppio espresso macchiato, with extra milk, and 2 Splendas.
The 2 Splendas.
It actually converges in the same space. And it's because it tastes very much like South Indian coffee. Don't you agree?
I agree 100%.
This is it.
So all the Starbucks store in the city.
By the way, I have to say one more thing. Pumpkin spice latte, oh my God, amazing. But if you haven't tried, ever since I was named, I've gotten, you won't believe this, over 10,000 notes from people of Indian origin telling me about this whole chai tea latte business. And I said, thank you very much. I accept all your suggestions with a great deal of humility.
So, we're talking about being first-generation immigrants, so I have to ask, and this is my last question for you, critical question, cricket or baseball?
Cricket. I love the Mariners. They're partners of Starbucks. Please go and visit them. Cricket.
So I feel like the Starbucks in the city are going to having a lot of orders for sous vide eggs, double grilled with sriracha, and a lot of pumpkin spice lattes and double doppios. But with that, I have to say thank you for a transformational conversation. This is incredible. Thank you for sharing yourself. Thank you for being here with us.
Starbucks started something with that pumpkin spice. I mean, you go to Whole Foods now and they've got pumpkin spice cream and pumpkin spice liquor, and I've had a lot of pumpkin spices over the years, so thank you. Thanks again to Pallavi, Laxman, Ada, Melly, and Rachel for sharing your stories over the course of this afternoon and your vision for the city and for the business community. We're going to take one more moment to look at these screens. A lot of sponsors here in the room who have made today's event possible, including Kaiser Permanente, the annual meeting presenting sponsor. Now with that, it is a Chamber of Commerce Day outside, the bluest skies you'll ever see here in Seattle, according to Perry Como. And in honor of what is the second Blue Friday of the fall season, this is the most exciting part of my day. I get a cue, Blue Thunder!